Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hugh Virtual Chat. Well, as each day goes on, I guess there's a little bit more hope that this will all be over very, very soon. And the good thing is that the weather outside is getting a lot nicer too as well. But again, keep your social distancing and stay safe. And so today, though, we will start off with a real, I think, wonderful treat for everybody. It's a heartfelt poem, though, from a nurse, a frontline healthcare worker, but she also is a wonderful singer-songwriter, and I do remember her name, and you will meet her very, very shortly. And also, we'll be talking about the arts and culture and performing arts in particular. So we'll have a chat with Sarah Davey. She's a dancer with Rowan Peg Ballet, and 2020 was supposed to be her swan song year, and we'll learn more about that. As well as hopefully we'll have the artistic director from the Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, Kelly Thornton, joining us. And of course, like all the other arts organizations, their seasons were cut short. And also, we don't know what the future will hold too, but we really hold dear all of those groups that bring so much joy and pleasure into our lives. So we hope that they will all be hitting the stages, so to speak, in the very short future. But for now, I'm going to welcome in all of our lovely ladies again for Thursday's Hugh Virtual Chat. It is spring, it is lovely outside, and oh my goodness, look at all these great faces. Oh, great. And some new ones too as well. So thank you, ladies, all for coming. It's been a crazy week. I mean, Tuesday was a really heavy show, but this one, we're gonna switch it up and talk about some things that are really, a lot of us hold dear to our hearts, the arts and culture and performing arts. But first of all, I want to introduce Emma. Hi, Emma.
Hi, how are you?
Good to see you. Now, do you remember we have done, I've done interviews with you, and usually it's your guitar singing away, and I had no idea that you are also a nurse, and this must be a very, very interesting time. So first of all, I guess, Emma, let's talk about, I guess, what these last weeks have been for you. Fill us in.
Well, yes, I am a nurse. Actually, I put myself through nursing school, releasing albums, and that was actually the last time we talked was about album releases. So it has been a very, very stressful month, I think, for everybody in a million different ways. In my world, as a musician, we were slated, my band, The New Customs, we were slated to play festivals all over the country, including the Winnipeg Folk Festival and the Stan Rogers Folk Festival. And we had tours that were going to take us internationally. When COVID occurred, all of a sudden, everything changed very, very suddenly. And as a nurse, there was this, it was terrifying. I'm not even going to mince words. There's this sudden realization that the only way that you can make an income and support your family is now, going to be a full-time endeavor, and that there is no amount of guarantee that anybody can offer, that everything we could possibly do will be enough. And that really weighed on me. It was keeping me awake at night. It was making it hard to get up and go to my shift. And it kind of felt like I was, I guess, skydiving. I felt like the being pushed out of a plane was me holding on to the wings going, but wait, it's not safe. And then still having to jump every day. And so that was a whole new level of stress.
Wow. What is it like in the hospital now? Is it still the same, or is it kind of?
Well, how do I explain? Yes, the fear is still absolutely there. Our world looks very different in the hospital now. We're used to protocols, and we're used to gloves and masks, but that's not usually 12 hours a day. I'm full time, and so we show up early, and we get scanned in to have our temperatures taken and get asked screening questions. Once you're changed into your uniform, then you add on protective eyewear and full mask. We've taken to wearing fancy headbands with buttons on them to protect our ears, because the backs of our ears have become raw and chopped. Then you put on a full gown. You've got your face shield, and then you wear gloves. And I'm a labor and delivery nurse. And so seeing my face is something that people often take great comfort in. And we look like masked bandits. We look quite terrifying. It's like something out of a sci-fi movie. So we've gone to great lengths to try to make our patients more comfortable, including putting our names on our foreheads with tape on top of our scrub caps, and remembering that human connection comes in so many ways that isn't just being able to see us, and being present for our patients as best we can in every way possible. But even things like our breaks are different. When we get breaks, we can't be near each other. And so it's this, you spend all day inside your PPE and very isolated and with this barrier between you and the humanity. And then when it's time for break, where you would normally decompress or talk to your colleagues or have fun just for a few minutes or even just eat, we can't do that in the same room. So we find ourselves isolated to sections like conference rooms or sitting alone, and then you just go back to work. So it's a very weird, it's a weird world.
And then what is it like when you come home? Can you decompress, or is it not enough time to decompress before you hit the shift again?
Well, I mean, my shift gets extended by, after we're done the shift, I do like full hot decontamination showers at work. My kids are scared to hug me. And quite frankly, I'm scared to hug them too. And when I walk through the door, the first thing they ask me is, "Are you sterile?" And it's hard to watch your children be so aware that you might be carrying a secret contaminant with you. So no, by the time I get home, after what will be like 13 hours plus at the hospital, knowing that I'm going back the next morning, I just drop. Like I feel like I can't, there's so much emotional energy that goes into being hypervigilant.
Yeah.
And that really just takes away, it takes away the energy. So yeah, no.
Oh my goodness. I can't imagine. You know what? I'm going to throw it out there, ladies. Do you have any questions for Emma?
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Emma. This is everybody. I mean, I think we're all kind of like, whoa. I mean, that's
I have a question, Emma. So I know I saw a couple of stories online. Is it true that in the LD room, you're only allowed to have just the healthcare team? No other family members are allowed to be with you now?
No, we have it down to having one essential support person,
Okay.
which has still created a lot of stress for a lot of families.
Yeah.
We're a family-friendly hospital, and we really
I know, I've had my babies there. Yeah.
Oh, good, good. And so I work at both hospitals. I should make that clear,
Yeah.
that I do work at St. Boniface as a labor nurse and as well as at HSC. But the policy right now is for us only to have one visitor accompanying. And so that can be the partner, the spouse, or in other cases, a person of their choice. That person gets identified with a wristband so that they can't be swapped in and out. It's really changed the face of birth, not all in negative ways, but the having only one person for those people who had wanted maybe their mom with them as well, or a doula. Unfortunately, because of infection control, we just can't have that right now. So I'm always grateful when people come in with a support person, period, because the alternative to that for some of our remote families is really different.
Wow. And I mean, my goodness, so I had my babies at St. B too as well, and my babies are big boys now. And we can all kind of attest to that too. Like, I mean, that is such a defining moment and such an important moment. And like you said, like the whole birthing now is so different. What has been the reaction from, the parents? I guess they have to embrace it. They don't really have too much choice, but have they kind of made their own kind of celebration?
It's different. Okay, so the one thing that I noticed as a very common parallel with all of the parents I've interacted with during COVID is that parents already come to the hospital anxious and nervous and excited and terrified. And usually they come to us, and sometimes they find us reassuring, and other times the whole experience takes a little while to sort of dip into it. But having a baby is already a momentous occasion in your life. And if you have children, then you know that it doesn't get any less scary no matter how many babies you have. But now what I'm seeing is this degree of fear. There's a way that someone looks at you when they look at you as if you might be dangerous. And when you come in, and like I said, we're dressed from head to toe, like there's a contaminant in the room. And I'm not arguing with it. I think it's totally reasonable. It's 100% appropriate, but it changes our ability to make people feel calm. We have to sit further away from them. That's another big thing. So staying in close proximity for long periods of time is not realistic. So even though we're in the same room, our rooms at the hospitals at HSC especially are very large. You'll find your nurses considerably farther back. And so looking at that look in their eyes, when they're looking at me like they're afraid to do something wrong, they don't want to touch something they shouldn't touch, they don't want to move into an area they shouldn't be in, it's just an entirely different level of fear and anxiety. And there's a bit of a disappointment as well, because there's often a lot of fanfare, a lot of visitors that come through after someone's had a baby, and that doesn't exist right now. But on that note, that's also been a remarkable positive for a lot of moms. A lot of parents do not get the time that they need to bond with their baby, to establish breastfeeding, to recover, to even just have a sleep without anybody needing something from you. And so that is one of the very small gifts that COVID has given us, is it's allowing moms and babies and parents to have more intimate bonding time with their babies, which is a practice I think we should maybe think about going forward, regardless.
That's really interesting, Emma. That's really interesting. Yeah, really good.
Now, does anybody have anything that they'd like to add? And I guess too, Emma, now, if you take it, what nursing and what your position will look like in the future, there will be some changes, I think, huh?
I don't fully understand.
Well, I mean, I think because of this situation now, what changes do you think will happen in the future as slowly, right, we try to go back to normal, or what that normal will look like?
I think, while I can't predict how it's all going to look, I want to tell you about my grandmother's perspective on butter. So my grandmother was a midwife during the Second World War, and she lived on wartime rations. And my mother tells me stories about how long after the war was over, my grandmother still would ration the butter in the house because it was the most valuable commodity. And every time I looked at the butter in the kitchen as this was happening, I started to think, what things in my mind are going to change as a result of this? And what will be sort of the quirky thing that my kids think was odd about, will I always be such a vigilant hand washer? Will I never let our shoes in the house again? Will I always walk at a distance from people in a grocery store? Do we become more nervous about giving hugs every time we interact with people? I don't know what the butter of my COVID situation will be.
Wow. But you have written a poem, and I know that you have band practice, which and I just want to say, though, doing the music side, though, must be a really great, way to just let your emotions out and think on a different wavelength.
It is. Well, I mean, the New Customs, it has been my full-time project for 4 years. Like I said, I work as a casual nurse in both places up until about a week ago, where I took a full-time position at HSC because that's where I'm needed. But working as a casual allows me to tour and go to festivals and be on the road and really, do all those things that everyone says that, how can you have so many jobs? No, we're just women. We're adaptable. We're really good at this.
Yeah.
You don't have to choose who you want to be when you grow up. You can just be who you are. The music, we're doing our first and probably only live stream concert today for our fans as in connection with Home Roots Chemin Chez Nous.
Yes.
So, and we're giving our Winnipeg fans and across the nation an opportunity to see us, simply because, I think the world's going to look different. And I don't know when the festivals are all going to come back. And I don't know when we're going to be able to sit in that Folk Fest field together and experience it. So I haven't been able to really pick up the guitar and pour emotion into it because I just quite frankly haven't had the time. But today we're going to play some songs and go live and interact with people through the internet, kind of like we are right now.
So what time, and give us the Facebook address, or can you?
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, so it's going to go through Facebook Live on Home Roots Chemin Chez Nous. And so if you type in Home Roots on your Facebook, That'll bring it up. And you can also find it, we're going to cross-post it to the new customs. And we're going to go live at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time today. So if you guys want to tune in and hang out with us in our living room, I've never invited so many people into my house ever.
And we don't care if you haven't cleaned. This is not the time for spring cleaning.
There are so many cords. I should turn this around just for you to see. Do you guys want to see?
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, so we've got cameras and cords and stages, and it looks like a bomb went off in here, but it's going to be a great sounding bomb. And yes. I've got to get organized for that. We've got learning how to live stream now as an artist is not a thing we knew how to do a month ago. And so as if the world wasn't already hard enough, now we're trying to figure out how to be technological wizards as well. So that I am going to conquer it. I am determined.
We know that you will. Before you leave us though, can you please read your poem?
Oh, sure. Hang on, I gotta get it.
Okay.
Okay.
This actually, is a great time too, because we are hearing stories about people writing, people doing artwork, and it's amazing. It really is. So I love this opportunity to share with everybody.
Yeah, thank you. The poem, I wrote it right before a 12-hour shift because I couldn't sleep and I was experiencing this, it felt like a weight sitting on my chest. I just could not process how much anxiety I had. And songwriting always comes to me like a bolt of lightning. And this came to me like a bolt of lightning, and I wrote it down and then posted it and then went off to go give my kids some dinner. And I came back within an hour and it had been shared almost 2,000 times. And then I got a little worried, and here we are talking about my poem. So here you go. It's called Today We Dressed for Battle. Today I dressed for battle, to fight an enemy I can't see. Stood in lines of frontline troops being scanned into work, our new routine. Packed a lunch for a 12-hour shift I'd likely never get to eat, and looked out the hospital windows at the ghostly empty streets. Fought with the fear inside me to go to the job I've always loved, afraid that everything I can do here still won't be enough. My hands are cracked from washing, my heart heavy with the fear that the enemy we're fighting can follow me home from here. A nurse's heart beats with compassion and will take care of you, weather through the storm and see this crisis through. So again, we'll dress for battle, to fight an enemy we can't see. We came to work for you. Please stay home for me. Oh, I like your little, she's got a clap. I love that. That's great.
It's like, well, not kind of whoop whoop, at the Folk Fest, but my goodness, thank you so much, Emma, for sharing that.
You are an absolute pleasure.
Thanks, Rana.
Yeah, you really are.
How do I do that?
Yeah, well, the ladies have it too, so I'm sure it's going to get shared out a lot more.
Yes.
And we'll all tune into your concert, 3 p.m. Eastern time, so that means 2 p.m. our time. Are you Eastern?
I didn't know where you guys were located. Okay,
yeah,
so 2
no,
p.m.
we're all here. We're all here in Winnipeg. Yeah, we're all here in Winnipeg. Yeah.
So it's 3 p.m. then.
Oh, 3 p.m. Okay.
3 p.m.
Perfect.
Central time. So we'll be here.
I got it.
Lovely to meet you all. I'm going to go and figure out the internet.
Thank you, Emma. We appreciate it.
Yes. Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Wow, that's pretty intense. I know that's like a real in-your-face look at
great.
what they're facing every day. So another added layer of gratitude and oh my goshness, but support all the ways. And I'd like to, okay, so we're gonna move on, and we do have some new people, and special guest we got there, Sarah Davey. She's a dancer with the World Olympic Ballet, right, Sarah? Still, or so it's so weird. You're gonna have to unmute yourself, Sarah, I think. You got your audio up?
Can you hear me?
Just turn your audio up a little bit.
Okay. I don't know if I know how to do that.
Yeah, maybe a little higher.
Okay.
A nice cheat is just to talk really loud.
Oh, good. Thanks, Tessa. Yeah, you have to talk louder. Sorry. They can't, I just got a message. You can't adjust your mic. So yeah, just shout.
Okay.
Yeah, so, okay, so Sarah, tell us a little, your story, I guess, on, you know, the old, how you became a dancer, and now more importantly, how 2020 was supposed to be your year.
Yeah, so I guess I started dancing back when I was like 3 years old. Dance has just always been a part of my life. I came to Winnipeg. I'm originally from Ontario. Came to Winnipeg when I was 13 years old. Went through the professional division. Joined level 4, then graduated in level 7. Went on for 2 years of aspirant program, and then I joined the company in 2009. I was promoted, I think, to second soloist in 2014 and just been doing that ever since. Yeah, so here we are. But yeah, this is supposed to be my retirement year.
I know.
So in May, it was supposed to be my last shows dancing with the company, and I guess last time performing ever for me. And unfortunately, that has been taken away.
I know. I mean, it's just, yeah, it's sad, and it's, oh my gosh, but I guess in other ways too now, I mean, what does the future look like for you, Sarah?
Well, I'm definitely like an over planner as a dancer, like type A personality. So I do want to go back to school. I've been doing a business degree this whole time, so I'm going into my 4th year of a business degree at UW. Going to be doing that full time for the first time, which is going to be fun. I also have plans to continue working with the Royal Winnipeg Ballet on the administrative side of things. It's been such a huge part of my life for 16 years now. So, I mean, it's not something I'm wanting to walk away from anytime soon, for sure. And definitely just doing a little bit of teaching. I started teaching in October this year. So just finding a new passion for being in the studio in that sense and being involved.
So now are you doing virtual teaching? Because it's really kind of amazing too how like the professional division and everybody's adapted there at the ballet. I just to fill the other ladies in is that they run virtual ballet class. They've cleaned out their living rooms and put up portable bars, and away they go.
Yeah, I mean, right now, most of us, because like a lot of the company dancers are just part-time hourly teachers because we are busy all the time. So a lot of us have all been laid off. It's just the regular core staff right now. But yeah, they're providing classes through Zoom. There's, private videos going out. We have still our ballet masters that are actually still giving a class for the company dancers. So every day, tune in at 11 o'clock to our Zoom class, and it just feels like we're all together again, so it's nice.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, being a former dancer and knowing what the company becomes your second family, what has it been like, you know, for the other members? Did a lot of them go back home? Because we know that we do have a lot of dancers from outside the country even too as well.
Yeah, well, it was pretty uncertain for us for a little while there because we did actually stop going into the studio quite early on. We stopped around March 16th. So just because of the nature of our jobs, we're in like close contact all the time. You can't rehearse without being all over each other. So they had us stop quite early on, but we were still on contract in the beginning. So we were just so uncertain about what was going to happen, right? So most of us have stayed here because I know a lot of people are from Canada, but then there are like Americans and people from China, but a lot of them like can't really travel that far right now, right? So yeah, stuff being closed. But I think for most people to apply for CERB, you have to stay in Canada. So a lot of people are just going to be staying in Canada for this time.
Wow. So, well, all our thoughts and prayers are with them too, because it's a hard time, right? Being away from your loved ones and not knowing. It can be pretty tense. And of course, in their occupation, right? They have to be very close. in close quarters. So yeah, so we'll talk about later and what you kind of think how the changeover will happen, you know, with the performing arts. Yeah, I don't know. I'm hoping that Kelly can join us. I'm not too sure if she can, but I'm going to move on. And Tessa, welcome. It's been a while, but and I love the short hair because I think last time I saw you, you had long hair. And so first of all, I know a little bit about Tessa, but you know, a little bit about yourself and I guess how One Just City is, you know, kind of coping with or reorganizing or dealing with this whole pandemic and COVID.
So first off, my husband cut my hair last week, following a YouTube tutorial because I was annoyed with it. But yeah, we are, you know, trying to do our best to support people who started this pandemic without resources to try to maintain the level of resources that they need throughout. So, you know, typically we serve anywhere from 12 to 1,500 meals a week. Right now we're serving anywhere from 1,500 to 2,000. We're also coordinating an additional 1,000 meals to other nonprofits because we've had our donors just be so generous that we're able to support other nonprofits. And we've continued our overnight warming center, which is normally for winter, which is why it's called warming, but now is just an overnight emergency space. And so trying to make sure that people experiencing homelessness have options to socially distance. And so other shelters had to spread people out, which meant they lost some space, and they're now figuring out how to make up those losses in beds. But in the interim, we stayed open so that at least another 30 people could have somewhere to be. And trying to figure out, you know, how to support people that maybe have mental health issues or live in a space that's unsafe. You know, we're talking a lot about stay at home, but what does that mean when you don't have one? We're talking a lot about stay at home. What does that mean when your home's not safe? So really trying to offer people still a space to come and be, following social distancing, following sanitation protocols, and offering people a place to get a meal. And so, you know, between our 3 locations, so One Just City has St. Matthew's Maryland Community Ministry in the West End, West Broadway Community Ministry in West Broadway, and Oak Table in Osborne Village. And between our 3 sites, we are seeing a huge increase in emergency food kits. So that's like, I have a family of 3, or I'm a single mom of 2, and I've run out of food and I don't get anything until Thursday and it's Friday. So we're doing kits that kind of help their family get to the next food touch point, and trying to make sure that all of the other things you need to keep your immune system and, you know, like shampoo and soap and things like that. Actually, Lush just donated their entire soap inventory to us.
Wow.
So that's really cool, and is helping us kind of get some of the things you need to wash your hands to people who can't afford to buy them, and trying to make sure that we can do things like that for folks. So, you know, we're really, like I talked on March 13th, Friday when this kind of all hit, with my whole team and said, you know, what are we going to do? And everybody said, we want to stay open, we want to keep working. Like our people need us now more than ever. And so we've been really lucky. One of the things that's been really different though is we normally run on the equivalent of 15 full-time staff and volunteer hours. So that's over like almost 300 volunteers, but most of them are seniors. And so right away we just saw that for good reason kind of disappear. And so for us, we've had to hire actually 4 staff to try to make up so that we can still, you know, do this level of service and in fact increase our level of service to the community during this time. So financially, that's hard on One Just City. You know, we have a donor really helping us with food, so we're kind of able to like move some budget lines around. But it's really important, I think, right now when we're thinking about, you know, the safety of our own homes and the capacity that we have to feel well, making sure that our whole community has some access to things that make them feel safe and, you know, not going hungry through COVID.
So do you think too, though, Tessa, and then now as the weather's getting warmer and everything like that, you're going to see a different wave of so-called people, or a different wave of people needing assistance from organizations like One Just?
We've already seen it. Pardon me. So, you know, I think our St. Matthew's, Maryland location is a good indicator of this. We normally are a lot busy there in the summer with families, and they started showing up like 3 weeks ago. And so it used to be that, you know, kids could, and now we see some programs like food programming is popping back up. But initially, kind of everything shut down. And so we had an increase there. Normally we serve about 85 meals a day, and we were doing 150 and still are every single day.
Wow.
And so that's a huge growth in terms of what we need to be able to have to offer. And if it wasn't for donors helping us make that happen, we would not, like, that's a need that completely would, like, we'd spend all of our year budget in this month. So it's been pretty impressive because most of the food we get is donated, but because of the food shortages that are happening right now, food isn't getting donated in the same way, and Harvest doesn't have as much to give us as they normally do.
Yeah.
In fact, they, you know, for about a month, were not giving us anything because they're focused on the food supplement packages, which is a huge priority, and we understand. So we're trying to fill those gaps. And so yeah, we've seen a lot of kiddos. We have a lot of babies coming with parents. So we're asking for baby formula, we're asking for diapers, we're asking for kind of anything that you would go to in your pantry. We're asking for feminine hygiene products and toiletries. And of course, I think most importantly, we're asking for money. Because if people can make a financial contribution, we can normally spend their money at a significant discount. So we, you know, you might buy us 5 boxes of diapers, which is great. Who knows if you'll get the right size? We can go and buy the exact amount of the right size of diapers and probably get like 25% off. So finances obviously is a huge way that people can contribute. And we actually set up on our website, if you go to wondercity.ca/donate and follow the link, you can donate to our COVID response. So you can know that this is money that's being spent yesterday or tomorrow on someone's needs right now in the community that are popping up because of COVID-19.
Wow. So type the website in the chat box, and then we'll make sure that and share it with everybody here. So I know, wow, it's lots of things to think about from all different sides and facets. So Rhonda, what are your thoughts on all of this? And, you know, I guess maybe putting it into a family and a child's point of view, knowing that parents are going through all these pressures, you know, looking at Emma having panic attacks, and then, you know, Tessa, you know, facing families and stuff like that. It's tough.
Yeah, and I think for me, I just have to say that poem is like really touched my heart, and, you know, just hearing everyone's stories. You know, I think my biggest fear is about, you know, children and families being at home, and we know that there's an increase in child abuse right now and domestic violence, and so I have moments where I feel kind of helpless, just knowing that the amount of child abuse reporting has gone down, but we know that there's been an increase in homes, and so that's just one of the things that I you know, just trying to how do we, you know, try to help when we know that this is happening in homes. And so that's kind of where I feel, and I'm an empathetic person, right? So I have all those big feelings about that, but I know that in my day job, one of the things that we're trying to do is the support workers that go to the home, we're going to be doing some training in the next couple of weeks about domestic violence and trying to help the people going into the homes, just trying to do something, because we just know that you know, families are struggling, and that you know, during this time, that isolation, you know, really, you know, increases the risk of people in domestic violence. So we're just trying to do the most we can, but it's hard, and that's one of the biggest fears I have, and just that feeling of helplessness is hard.
Yeah. Well, and it's great, or not great. I mean, it just brings to light too. I remembered the question that I asked all of you, you know, is what are you most afraid of? I mean, looking at that. So, Nanette. Hi, I know.
Hello.
Hello. What did you think of the poem?
I was almost in tears there. That really was very moving. It was so powerful. And like, I have a sister who works at HSC, and it's, you know, she posts a picture of, she sends me a picture of herself in her outfit of the day, and it just brings to reality what they're going through. And you know, we're not there because they're there keeping us safe and taking care of people, and you know, and to hear that It was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It just makes you so grateful for what they're doing, you know, what they put themselves through, what they have to do in order to you know, to take care of people.
Yeah.
What would we do without them, you know? Just
Awesome.
amazing.
No.
Yeah.
Charlotte. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. She actually, I want to add, first of all, your thoughts on Emma's very, I think, very open and very honest feelings, personal feelings. What did you think?
No, I was writing a list of who I could share her poem with, just so other people can experience what we all experienced, and having her read it. I mean, I saw the looks on all of our faces, and it was just, you know, heartbreaking and you know, wow. I have a sister-in-law and a niece who are both emergency room nurses here in the province, and I'm so proud of them, and at the same time scared for them too, you know. So it's that balance of, you know, so many emotions. Are we going to talk about what our fears are now, or?
Yeah, I guess what our fears are. I guess I think we're all in the we've all found new fears, or things to be thankful for. But yeah.
Yeah, you know, so my fear, and you know, it was brought to light from a text I got just before going on the air today, is that keeping ourselves safe. And my girlfriend sent me a text, and her daughter's come down with COVID-19, and she's in her 20s, and has a young family, and she's been socially isolating and doing all the things, but went to a grocery store on Wednesday and came down with the symptoms on Saturday. And for all of us who are experiencing, the only place we're going is the grocery store, and we're not going very often, and boom, you know, she got it. So she's strong and she's healthy, so her symptoms are not as bad as, say, for a senior. But you know, like I said, we're all trying to do the best at staying safe. And that was my biggest fear, is that I would bring it home from the one trip to the grocery store that I made. So I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but that's just kind of sitting heavy with me today. So
Yeah. Hi, Heather. Hi.
Hi, Tracy. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
You know, I thought what Emma had to share with us was just so powerful, because I have to say, when you listen to the news, and we know that, you know, there are 7 people hospitalized with COVID and 4 in intensive care, and you see images of the hospital and it looks deserted, you get this false sense that it's really not
that bad.
And I hadn't really thought about the impact on the employees in that environment. To hear Emma describe having to have her coffee break or lunch break, if she's lucky to have it, and to be completely isolated, like, it just sounds horrific. And you know, they truly are heroes.
Yeah. No. So Kirsten, then I guess that kind of bodes too on the mental health, right, of all these frontline healthcare workers. It's got to have some kind of impact when it's all over. Like, I mean, I tried to ask that question to Emma on what, you know, what a nurse will be like when we go back to normal. Like, they won't be in that close contact, I don't think, anymore. Like she said, I don't know if I'm going to hug anybody. So what about the mental well-being?
Yeah, you know, I'm going to piggyback on what Heather said. To hear what they go through in that poem, one of the things I find in the work that I do in mental health is being able to debrief after a hard day. And like, that's so important to debrief and not just keep it bottled up inside. And to hear them talk about how they're isolating to have lunch breaks and coffee breaks, and the loneliness, and you know, isolation is not your friend when you're struggling with a crisis, that's for sure. And also as well, what really touched me is when I didn't really make the connection, although maybe I did, but I bounced past it. These nurses are coming home to their families, you know, their children. And for all those mama bears out there. I mean, they're still doing it. And I just can't imagine what they carry and how fearful that is on a daily basis for them. So I hope that, and I think it will continue, that the support and the appreciation, the pedestal that we're going to put these frontline workers on continues for some time. And I hope when this dies down, and it will, I hope they have some really healthy services, some peer services, something to access, because there's going to be a lot that needs to be processed. Absolutely.
Yeah. Susie, yeah, I mean, I guess you have social media, right, and Facebook that, I guess they can use to, I guess, bond, but wow.
Well, I used to work with nurses, actually. So when I first started my PR career, I did PR and media relations at the U of M for the Faculty of Nursing. So I have a lot of my heart still left in nursing, and I still do a lot of work with nursing advocacy groups and things like that. And so I have always said that nurses rule, and they are the amazing backbone of our healthcare system. And we can talk about the inherent sexism in that profession in another episode, but it's always been there. And it's one of those things that has come to light as we go through this process. Nurses are amazing. And I used to go to schools actually and do like recruitment pitches to high schoolers who were going to graduate. And I would say, nobody ever goes into nursing for money. They go into it because it's a calling, because they want to care, they want to do research, they want to, help people. And they're just amazing people. And I have nothing but positive things to say about nurses, and they are the real MVPs of everything that happens in our healthcare system. And I mean, everybody who's working in healthcare right now, no matter what your role is, you are an amazing hero. But, we look at what our society values and where we place our heroes on pedestals and things like that, and how we even pay people and how we value them. And nursing is one of those professions that is always facing cuts, always facing threats from government. And I think that we've seen now just what happens when we do those things, and that nurses are the front line, and we need their support, and we need to support them more than ever.
Yeah. No.
So I love nurses. That's all I have to say.
And what are you afraid of then? Nothing?
I'm afraid that that we might go into a period of austerity where we feel that these positions aren't as valued once we get out of this immediate crisis. And I think that we need to see that that is not the answer, and that more education, more investment into healthcare, into nursing, and all those things are really important for the future.
Yeah. Well, okay. All right. Rana, how you doing? Were you out shopping?
No. I was just on a different call. Yeah. No. I don't know. I excuse me. I think a lot of what Susie said is just completely on point. And I appreciate the fact that she hit on the inherent sexism of the profession. And I look forward to that conversation after, because it's so true. I'm a person, after my dad got sick, I saw so much that I bow down to nurses day in, day out. I've never seen anything, the compassion and the care that they work with prior to this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And it's kind of shitty, and I'm going to swear, sorry guys, that sometimes it takes a crisis for all of us to really, really recognize the work that they do. But I think it's, I don't know, I would like to see community come together to lift them up and to support them, is what I would really want to see. You know what I mean? I would like to see some really cool projects, or, I don't know, endeavors or something that would really give them what they need. Because just listening to Emma, right, like there's a sense of aloneness that they're almost, perhaps that they feel like they're alone, and they're in this isolated kind of profession, going every day to this very scary job, and we only know about this because we heard it through her, but a lot of people won't hear that firsthand story. So it'd be nice if there was something that everyone could just do to, I don't know, like a day of nurses, or let's do something fun where you kind of lift them up and you know,
So,
generally.
International Nursing
I
Day.
knew it.
Yes,
International
yes.
Nursing Day is actually coming up in May, and it is celebrated on May 12th, which is Florence Nightingale's birthday. And there is always a proclamation that is made through the College of Registered Nurses of Manitoba. And so if you have anything in your community, or I'm sure the hospitals will be looking at ways that we can say our thanks to nurses, absolutely we need to celebrate and bang that drum this year, because they so deserve it. Every year they deserve it, but this year so much more.
Okay,
Yes.
so
Nurses
we'll
rule.
do something.
I
We'll
just
do
want
something. Let's all go in our cars and we'll drive by every hospital and toot our horn and and throw some balloons out. I don't know.
I just want to make a point to say how perfect was it that I was leading towards, and I knew it. I knew after listening to Susie that she was going to jump in, and then I was trying to go a little bit slower just to give her the time to be like, hey, this is happening. I love it.
She's practically jumping out of her green screen there.
I love it.
As parents.
Yeah, so that's my take on Emma. But no, it's just been a really interesting conversation. You know, the poem was beautiful. I'm going to share it after we get off as well. But yeah, I mean, everyone just do the best that they can do, you know, and I don't know. I think it gets more and more surreal as every day goes by, no doubt. It is a little scary that, I mean, you know, I'm going to the grocery store at least once a week for everyone, right? Like I'm the person who goes for the entire family. And that makes me a little bit scared, I'm not going to lie. That, you know, I have, my niece and my mom, you know, both my mom's a little bit, or my niece is just a little cute little baby. But there's that. But I also just want to say, you know, for us, and I know it's, what it is, and it's not really on topic, but for a lot of Muslims in the world, we start fasting tomorrow for a month.
Yeah.
So Ramadan starts tomorrow, so we're fasting all month. So I know that there's been a lot of changes in how that is happening, and you know what's usually like a community kind of get together, an event that's been really interesting. That's no longer happening. The breaking of the fast.
So that, because this is a very important time for you
Very
culturally. So
very.
What changes are you doing, or and even for the fasting too as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're everyone's home right now. Like full disclosure, like I'm a horrible person. Like I'm not a horrible person. I do what I can. But I mean, this will be definitely a year that I try my best to fast for the whole 30 days. I normally don't. I've just never managed the whole day just due to work and everything else. So I'm gonna try this time because I am home. But yeah, just the get-togethers. The community aspect of it is no longer there. We can't go to the mosque. We can't all join in together and do things that we always do, because it is kind of a motivation that everyone kind of gets together, and then you motivate yourself for the next day, because it's not easy. It's quite you know, and it's meant to be challenging, and it's meant to be self-reflecting. Like you're supposed to go through that to self-reflect. So that's been really different. And then just it feels different. It just feels different. You know, it just feels different. So, but on the plus side, I think that hopefully, I think a lot of us who haven't been able to fast in the past due to work or travel or whatnot, at least we're home now when we can actually do it.
Right.
And then the last thing I would say just about it is, you know, there's some components of the month that are really important, and one of them is just giving. Like we do zakat, like we give as much as you can, right? Like you basically are, you know, so I hope, I know a lot of community members and family members are seeking out organizations that they can give to in this time. So I think that, I think from the Muslim community, there'll be a big boost in terms of what's being donated to different organizations, because this month it's an obligation on us that we must. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see how things change. But I just wanted to say that because I know a lot of people will be watching, and you know it's starting tomorrow morning, so it'll be interesting, and I'm looking forward to it. So.
Oh, good. Well, we'll encourage you every day.
Yeah. Okay. I won't have my coffee. I won't have my coffee mug.
Oh, yes. Well, I'm gonna kind of switch it up. I'm gonna say hi to Susan. Hi, how are you doing? And Susan, I know that you missed, I guess, maybe the top end. I don't know if you saw Emma. She was a nurse at St. Boniface Hospital. And I'll share that the poem that she wrote to you as well. But I mean, Susan and her husband have been longtime patrons too of the arts, and a big supporter of the theater and of the ballet. And so now, I mean, Sarah too, now we're going to jump in and sort of, I mean, you know, we see our frontline healthcare workers, we know what they're going through. Sarah shared her story, Susan, too. This was her retirement year, her swan song, and a big celebration. And, you know, for all of her hard work and years training and as a dancer. Now, I guess to both of you ladies, what is it going to look like? And I know it's hard to project, but what is it going to look like going back to the theater, going back to see ballet, going back to see a live performance on stage? Well, you know, Susan, your thoughts as a, you know, as a patron. What is it going to be like when you first step back into the concert hall or the theater center for you?
You know, well, I mean, for me, I'm looking forward to it very much. I know at Royal Manitoba Theatre Centre, everybody, although, you know, although staff have had to gear down like all the other arts and culture organizations, you know, here in Manitoba, and kind of, you know, wait it out until circumstances become such that they can gear back up again. It's the same for all sister brother organizations like, you know, the RWB, right, Sarah? But the thing is that in the case of RMTC, and I think all the other organizations as well, everybody's really working very hard to maintain connections with subscribers and sponsors and donors virtually online. Like everybody's, and I'll just sort of draw a comparison. It's like so much of our lives have moved to becoming virtual, just like what you're doing, Tracy, with your show. You know, you're creating a virtual kind of experience for, how many are there? 12 of us that are getting together to talk about really interesting themes and topics and share our stories. So, you know, my family, we had a Passover Seder, the 16 of us from 5 or 6 different cities. And it was a once in a lifetime experience that now we're going to do it again. And we also celebrate Ramadan, like Rana, in our family. And we're going to look at trying to do something like that too, so that we can have that same feeling of community, but virtually. And perhaps, and so, you know, Manitoba Theatre Centre is, you know, they just, I think it was yesterday, had a program called How the Magic Happens. So you could come online and learn about a couple of the actors who were to play in the production called Georgia McBride, and how these 2 actors who were to perform drag characters, so what's involved in creating your face, basically, what the makeup is. And we watched them actually do their full makeup, and it just brought us into that whole theater experience. So although we couldn't be there for the show, it brought us there for something pretty special that we wouldn't have seen otherwise. So
Sarah, so I just want to, sorry to interrupt you, Susan, because I just want to say, Sarah, you could show us then how you became like the Wicked Witch of the West. Because that was like one of, right? Because yeah, that was one of your roles, wasn't it, Sarah?
It was. I did Wicked Witch. It was actually one of my longest quick changes because I had to go from Miss Gulch, who was regular face and you know, on her bike, and then I think it was something like 9 minutes to get spray painted green and like all the different things and fully change the costume and the hair and the hat. So yeah.
So yeah, you could do that. No, but Susan, those are wonderful ideas, and I think too, obviously too, I mean, with performers and everything, they're very creative, but I guess it's all creativity that I think each and every one of you are showing in your organizations and what you do. So Sarah, now, yeah, this season, of course, is canceled. There's, I guess, still going on a big alumni convention or whatever gathering, and it's postponed to October. But now I'm kind of thinking, you're not going to have, well, first of all, we don't even know if travel will be allowed anyways for all these dancers, former dancers to come to Winnipeg. But maybe, I mean, maybe virtual might be the first step for the performing arts. Maybe it's a virtual performance of us solo and yeah, or.
Yeah, definitely. Just touching on what Susan had said, like it's so important for us to stay connected to the donors and stuff, right? So even for us, we had our biggest fundraiser of the year is always in April, and that's our gala. So this year we had to go online with it, you know, like we still need that support. We still need to stay connected. So we had our auction online, and then we had a few of the dancers go online to do a Q&A for an hour and talk about the prizes, talk about the season and everything. So I definitely think we're going to have to start somehow adapting to that. We've already been in talks about, obviously, you know, Ballet in the Park is in July. Is it socially responsible to even still keep that on the calendar? Like, no, right now, probably not. So, you know, we're definitely having to look into what we can do going forward, how we can restart the season back up. You know, the dancers are supposed to come back in July for their season start, but that's, you know, every day looking less and less likely. We can't be expecting 2,000 people to gather into the concert hall. So definitely starting to look into different options. It is a little difficult though to do obviously a group dance. We've kind of played around with some fun things as a group together. So there might be some stuff coming out shortly. We'll see. But yeah, definitely gonna have to start looking into maybe solo performances, or if maybe when the building is open, can we do little solo things in our Studio 116, you know? So
or an audience-less performance, right? Like there, you know, it's like a live theater presentation, but no audience, and it's, you know, filmed and then it's brought to your home. So yeah, so I'm very, thank you, Susie, about International Nurses Day. She sent a whole little informational package. I'm gonna look at the calendar. I don't have it right here. Oh, hang on, I'm just gonna step away. So May 12th, it's a Tuesday. So invitation definitely to all of you. And I also want to say too, the first week in May is volunteer week. So, which is great because I really wanted to acknowledge all of the volunteers outside of the ones dealing with the pandemic and COVID-19. You know, these are the ones that have been working so hard throughout the whole other entire part of the year to support organizations, and it would be really great if we can do shout outs. I mean, so many volunteer for the Winnipeg Ballet, so many volunteer for the Theater Center, for One Just City, you know, Folk Fest, and all of the festivals this summer that won't be going on. And they're, you know, what they look forward to the most has been taken away. So I think we can all, you know, kind of look at that. And I would love, like, you can send me names or whatever. And I mean, you know, what we can do, shout outs, whatever. Charlotte too, you know, that so many of you volunteer. And just sort of give a pat on the back to all of those people that, you know, maybe aren't really recognized right now, because, you know, there's volunteer week and there's a big banquet and they honor so many different people that that's just time to kind of reflect on that. So yeah, so we're gonna have some big talks, and then I invite you all on Monday, you know, especially if you're interested in it, to talk about domestic violence, to talk about family breakdowns and the safety. We'll hopefully have Kathy Cox, who is Minister of Sports and Heritage and Culture, but also on the status of women, and Rochelle Squire, she's the Minister of responsibility, but she's also for the status of women too as well. And we're going to have Joy Smith. So looking forward to seeing Joy and the Joy Smith Foundation. So I invite all of you, and I'm hoping that, yeah, all the rest of the women will come on Monday for that. And then Thursday is Pet Day. So if any of you have pets, they're on, because we're going to have the Winnipeg Humane Society on. So actually, there might be the one thing that's a good point, because they're adoption and their animals, they don't have a lot because people have been adopting a lot. So that's a good thing and also a bad thing. And there also will be a vet on, and she can answer any of your questions for your pets during this time. I mean, they can't get COVID, so I'm told, or whatever. But also too, as dog parks, I don't think they're open yet, but I'm not too sure. Maybe some of you that have pets, are dog parks still open? Yeah, so maybe we can, they can answer questions too on that, on the safety of that. So anyways, I will share out, the poem will be on our Facebook page. And if you want a copy of the poem, just send me an email and I will definitely share it with you. Susie, what do you think? Maybe we should get Emma or the new customs to do a song outside of the hospital on May 12th.
That'd be nice if they have time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she might be on shift. Yeah, but yeah, I'll send her a note. That might be cool. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thanks, Sarah. Thanks, Tessa. Thanks, Susan, Heather, Charlotte, Susie again, Nanette, Rana, Kristen, Rhonda. Thank you so much. Have a safe weekend. The weather should be great. Do your social distancing, but I would really recommend getting outside, breathing some fresh air, rejuvenating. Yes. And look on the chat for Tessa's website. You know what? And stay in touch. Like, I want you to be in these conversations too, Tessa, because it's very important to be connected with all of those, less fortunate and vulnerable, because I think it's only going to become a bigger issue. So thoughts and prayers with you. Okay. And your husband did a great job in your hair. I love it.
Beautiful.
All right.
You can almost do anything.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. Okay. Stay safe. Bye. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Bye.